Happy Saturday, everyone. Hopefully, everybody has had a great start to the day. Um, I got three big things to talk about. First things first is air quality has improved drastically. We are no longer under a code orange. We are a code yellow, which is pretty typical. This is still due to some of that smoke high up in the atmosphere and the combination of ground level ozone. Number two is storms, and number three is heat and humidity. But something I want to touch on really quick before we get started is the coast. If you are heading there, what your forecast is for this long weekend. So Bar Harbor from Myrtle Beach looking good this morning. There are some folks out there on the water. My producer did point out that it does look a little bit gray. I think that's the camera angle and a combination of some of that smoke still high up in the atmosphere. But if you do have plans to head to the beach this weekend, it's probably no surprise, right? That we are going to see the chance for some thunderstorms, combination of heat, humidity, and sunshine, not abnormal for July standards. So definitely not bad weather like what we had Memorial Day weekend, but definitely days where you want to keep a close eye on the forecast, stay weather aware, have a way to get alerts. And I will tell you that if you are traveling to the coast this weekend, you have the WCNC Charlotte mobile app, you will get alerts to your location. For example, if a severe thunderstorm warning was issued, if you have that location services turned on, since those technically come from the National Weather Service, not like the local media over along the beaches. But local media is great. My friend Scotty Powell is actually a meteorologist there in Myrtle Beach, so he is fabulous. Something else I do want to touch on really quickly too is we had some stories over the past few days, about the recurrent deaths that have been, higher than normal over the past 2 weeks, including a former NFL quarterback. I think sometimes when you see things like that, when it's former pro athlete, someone who is, probably in better shape than the average person, it can be a little bit scary. We have had about 11 or so over the past 2 weeks in portions of the northern Gulf Coast, 55 so far this year, specifically related to rip currents, which is pretty high for only halfway through the year, as last year there were 69. So please be safe. Please keep a close eye on the forecast. There will be king tides moving in Sunday through Wednesday along the Carolina coast. These are higher than normal high tides that cause beach erosion, coastal flooding, and elevates the rip current risk. So to go with all of that, please heed warnings from local officials, from lifeguards. Typically, if you see the color red, you know that that's probably not that's basically going to be a great day. So the red flag is extreme caution, serious hazards. The double red flag means that they do not recommend getting in the water at all. There's also the option for the yellow flag. Sorry, my graphics are moving a little slow. So pretty much red, I would say, if it's like, what ready. Can't even think of what I was going to say. Essentially, red means you probably shouldn't be using extreme caution. Double red is a no-go. Yellow is medium, kind of like if you're at a stoplight. And then green is you're pretty much good to go. So let's see. There you go. Yellow flag. High surfer dangerous currents. Swim only near lifeguards. So a medium risk. Green flag is going to be a low risk. And then there also is another color that they oftentimes will use, and that is the purple flag. This is typically to depict wildlife. So like a man of war jellyfish, sharks, things like that maybe have been spotted. So that's for dangerous marine life. So just good reminders if you're heading to the coast and just being, weather aware and keeping a close eye on the forecast. Now, closer to home, of course, we don't have a big body of water near us. That's as big as the ocean. We have the lakes, of course, Lake Norman, Lake Wiley. But we are still seeing, and I'm going to try to point this out a little bit better. So if you look in eastern Illinois into Indiana, Ohio, and even some of this rain lingering into parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and even Virginia, those are still those storms kind of wrapping around that ring of fire setup. There was a severe thunderstorm warning that was literally just out of our viewing area over toward Bristol, Tennessee this morning. But like we've seen for the past few mornings, essentially it died out upon contact with the Carolina mountains. Now there has been a little bit of light rain up there, but as of the latest scan, I have it over in the monitor by me, a little bit of light rain on the border between North Carolina and Tennessee in Avery County. But other than that, you see that there, a little bit of light rain. It died out pretty quickly. And even the thunderstorms associated with that are out of here for now. Now, we are going to see a chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms again this afternoon and evening. But again, same thing around the ring of fire setup. Essentially, what happens is we have a high pressure, really strong ridge of high pressure that situates over the deep south. And that really cranks up the heat and humidity. So coastal portions of Texas. I mean, I saw Houston's heat index. It seemed like it was above 110 for days. Essentially, they get all that heat and humidity, so things really, really crank up. But in that clockwise rotation where you see the storm track around it, essentially that plummets storms into the Carolinas, into Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, and even the upper Midwest. And typically, ring of fire setups with those storms, they're tiny little pieces of energy, especially when they come in the evening or early morning hours, and they kind of die out upon contact, but they can cause really, really strong winds. There was a derecho a few days ago in parts of the upper Midwest. Some of the radar indicated winds were like 90 to 100 miles per hour. Now, none of that here in the Charlotte area, but I still think it's important, to know that we do have that threat there for strong to severe storms, especially this afternoon and evening. So as we kind of progress throughout the day, the heat and humidity of the afternoon will prompt that risk. Higher risk today compared to what we are going to see on Sunday. But if you look at some of these storms, this is the latest, what's called the HRRR. This is a high rapid refresh resolution, which essentially means it's oftentimes a little bit more accurate. And the HRR has a lot of the storms coming in much, much later on in the day. I will tell you that another forecast model that we use had most of the storms closer to about 4 o'clock kind of a start time. So I would kind of prepare for any time after 4 p.m. to see the strong to severe storm risk, but it's definitely not going to be an all-day rain event or all-day storm event. The storms that do develop, while isolated in nature, are going to be strong though. And again, that'll be especially for this evening and even into the overnight time frame. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we couldn't have some of those storms lingering into early morning hours on Sunday. But Sunday, most of the activity comes in, same thing, again in the afternoon. I do think Sunday's timing though is going to be a little bit earlier. And you can kind of see I'm switching from the high resolution, which is more of a near term, to a more long-term model. Again, some of those storms in the afternoon and evening on Sunday. So about a 30 to 40% chance both days. Neither day is a washout. You'll still get plenty of dry time. But I think today, 4 p.m. and later is the target. But if that HRR, the high resolution's right, it'll be much, much later on in the day. And then we do kind of keep those rain chances pretty low overall heading into Monday and Tuesday. So 30 to 40%, pretty normal, for July standards. But something else that's pretty normal for July standards, of course, is the return of the warmth and humidity. Now, yesterday, we did have 91, which is pretty typical for this time of year, but we are getting hotter heading into the weekend. I actually forgot I put this in. Okay, so here's today's severe storm risk. Again, we're primarily talking winds, quarter-size hail could be that second risk. And then tomorrow that just lower to what's considered a low risk. And then again on Monday, we are going to pretty much have no risk here locally in the Carolinas. It shifts a little bit further to our south. And you'll see this here in a second. Sorry, things are definitely moving slow this morning. There you go. So pretty much medium, low, and even lower is kind of the threat here over the next 3 days. But I think the heat and humidity probably a bigger story overall in terms of time frame. Sorry, I forgot about this. Okay, so winds, you see hail, you see lightning, minor flooding, no tornado risk. No tornado risk is good. Good morning, Kels, best friend on the stream as she always is. So again, that's for Saturday afternoon and evening, but primarily toward the evening hours. Here's what I wanted to get to. So we have so far been 91. That's the hottest temperature so far of the year. The average high for July 1st, which welcome to July, is 90. So we've been really close to that over the past week or so, upper 80s, lower 90s. Today, we're likely going to surpass that and probably our hottest day of the year so far on Sunday. So when you added the heat and the additional dew point reaching into the 70s, we're really going to have above average heat and humidity again heading into this weekend. So we're talking 100 degrees to 105 for the feels like temperature. That could prompt a heat advisory for tomorrow in some counties here in the Carolinas, and it is going to be the hottest, but we really do have this heat continuing over the next 5 days at a minimum. So I do encourage everyone, of course, to stay safe, stay weather aware, stay hydrated, all that good stuff. Now, again, rain chances staying pretty normal for this time of year over the next 5 days. By the end of this week and heading into next weekend, it does look like we could bump those rain chances up a tiny bit, and that is going to allow for temperatures to be more upper 80s, lower 90s, but that's pretty much just more typical for this time of year. So the dangerous heat, the slightly above average heat, does look to be especially for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday before we do kind of go on a step ladder back down. Of course, the 7-day forecast to 10-day definitely can still change. So make sure you are keeping a close eye on it and keeping up to date with us. But next 3 days, again, I really think it's the strong storm potential later on today, and kind of today being that first day with above average heat and humidity. Tomorrow, the hottest. Monday, the second hottest. And then, of course, just, staying safe, staying hydrated, getting that shade, all that good stuff as we head into the holiday on Tuesday. I hope everybody has a happy, safe time. Be careful if you're heading to the coast. Keep an eye on those rip currents. But I think overall, especially compared to Memorial Day weekend being so crappy, 4th of July weekend will be a lot better. Even though it is on a Tuesday, it's kind of an awkward time, but it will be a much better forecast overall for folks here in the Carolinas. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everybody. And Chris will actually be in for me tomorrow. So have a great day. Have a great time. He is the best. Have a good